Multiple brands and businesses apparently aren't showing the mogul love, as they've decided to distance themselves or fully cut ties. According to Variety, a reality show following Diddy's family was scrapped in its early stages of development at Hulu. The show was reportedly being developed with the working title Diddy Plus 7, which was produced by James Corden's production company. The series was supposed to follow the lives of Diddy and his 7 children. In November, the Capital Preparatory School in Harlem, which is a public tuition-free charter school Diddy co-founded, cut ties. The school's co-founder and head of schools, Dr. Steve Perry, released a statement following their decision. The statement reads, quote, "Following a comprehensive evaluation, a decision has been made to end the partnership between Capital Preparatory Schools and Sean Combs. While this decision was not made lightly, we firmly believe it is in the best interest of our organization's health and future." That news arrived soon after Diddy stepped down as chairman of Revolt TV, the TV network he co-founded in 2013. In a statement posted to the network's Instagram page, it read in part, quote, "While Mr. Combs has previously had no operational or day-to-day role in the business, the decision helps to ensure that Revolt remains steadfastly focused on our mission to create meaningful content for the culture and amplify the voices of all Black people through this country and the African diaspora. Our focus has always been one that reflects our commitment to the collective journey of Revolt, one that is not driven by any individual, but by the shared efforts and values of our entire team on behalf of advocating, elevating, and championing our culture," and that continues. At the time it was reported, Diddy's decision to step down as chairman was described as temporary and didn't appear to be a full resignation. That all appeared to change months later. According to a TMZ report, Diddy had sold off all of his shares of Revolt TV to an anonymous buyer for an undisclosed amount. The news was revealed shortly after the feds raided Diddy's homes. Selexco, who previously managed Diddy as an artist, no longer lists him as a client on their website. According to Billboard, Diddy hired the artist management company, which manages the likes of The Weeknd, Ty Dolla $ign, French Montana, and Brandy back in 2021. But at this time, it's unclear when Diddy was scrubbed from the website or if he was officially dropped as a client. Last July, Diddy announced he'd be launching Empower Global, which according to his team was a curated immersive e-commerce platform that allows consumers to discover and buy products exclusively created and sold by Black entrepreneurs. Diddy founded the company in 2021. After the company was launched, he told the Associated Press in an interview he wanted to create the Black Wall Street and felt passionate about building wealth within his community, even investing $20 million into the platform. But by the end of the year, nearly 20 companies terminated their partnership with the e-commerce platform, one company even telling Rolling Stone magazine they made the decision after Cassie filed her lawsuit against Diddy. According to entertainment attorney Mitra Ahorian, the brand's move to distance themselves from the mogul isn't surprising.
I don't find it unusual, and actually, in my opinion, the moves have been sort of mild. There hasn't been huge announcements about, dropping him from anything. He is no longer on his, management roster's website. He stepped down from Revolt TV and sort of quietly sold all his shares, but they issued a very, sort of mild statement about protecting, their objective and the purpose of the station and not distracting with these other things that are going on. So that was kind of this fair, understandable statement. One that kind of broke my heart a little bit was the school in Harlem, the charter school that he had started to that he founded, really distance themselves from him and sort of, cut off that relationship, which as a school, you have an obligation to the kids. And but it's kind of interesting because the businesses that he's been tied to and the ones that are distancing themselves from him are all kind of doing good in the world. And that's something that I found very interesting. Like, for example, the Empower Global, the sort of the Black marketplace that he started, that's sort of the Amazon for Black businesses. A lot of businesses are removing themselves from that platform, which is unfortunate. That was some good. So I was just surprised there were some things that he's doing out in the world that I wasn't aware of that I'm finding out about now. And I find that kind of interesting, but just, they're definitely a lot of movement away from him now, and also him stepping down.
According to new reports, the allegations are also affecting the rapper and the producer's radio spins. According to Billboard, prior to Cassie's lawsuit being filed against Diddy, his expansive catalog generated 11,000 radio spins, which translates to 23.3 million radio airplay impressions. But within just 2 weeks of Cassie filing her lawsuit, his radio spins declined 28% and impressions were down 26%. And in the months following, radio stations have reportedly been playing his expansive catalog less and less. The report explains from March 15th through the 28th, only 1,000 radio spins were generated, which garnered 4 million impressions, a significant plummet compared to the weeks leading up to Cassie's filing.
But the interesting thing is the streaming numbers have actually gone up. So even though people are, they have less access to what's playing on the radio now, they're actually streaming more, which arguably is more revenue for him and his artists. But that's I found to be sort of an interesting trend, because of course people are like, the people that know Diddy are revisiting his songs, and the people who might be, maybe didn't grow up with him or aren't as familiar with all of his songs are probably looking him up now, like what is the big deal, and all the people that are tied to him. So it is a very interesting trend, and I think it's one to pay attention to for sure.
But despite not officially being charged with the crime, is there a way Diddy can recover his public image or even his business endeavors? Mitra Ahorian explains that remains unclear.
The business deals I don't know about. The public image, anything can happen. And I think it's very much going to turn on the federal investigation. We didn't get a lot of what happened in the Cassie lawsuit because it didn't go through to the discovery phase. We have yet to see what's going to go on with the others and whether they'll settle or whether more things will become public by virtue of a public proceeding. The federal investigation, that's going to be interesting, because that's not lawyers against one another. That's the government who, is variously looking, cannot make moves without having probable cause and having, evidence and, to be able to charge and things like that. So I think, people sometimes, don't give as much weight to a civil lawsuit because they know this, that people are often after celebrities and after money. So there's an element of that where you take things with a grain of salt. But with the federal government investigating, that's definitely something that the public is going to take far more seriously.
But in light of the ongoing allegations against Diddy, is the music industry finally coming to a Me Too reckoning? Ahorian says possibly.
Maybe. It feels, I say this again and again, working in entertainment, the music industry has historically been sex, drugs, and rock and roll, right? And in the case of hip hop, there's other, parallels to that. But we sort of expect this of our musicians. We sort of expect this from, we glorify them and, they can do no wrong. It's understood they're going to have, a lot of girls around. That's the lifestyle. They're going to have, a lot of maybe, girls of all ages, let's say, who are fascinated by celebrity and unfortunately sometimes get taken advantage of. But I think that, the public sort of, if they don't know what's going on behind closed doors, it's very easy to turn a blind eye to what we sort of dismiss as a lifestyle that is very far from the lifestyle that you and I might have, but something that is also glorified in the music, in the videos, and all of that. So I don't know that it's necessarily the Me Too of the music industry. It is definitely the Me Too of Diddy and his empire, because so much is going to be coming out. There's been so many rumors over the years that are finally sort of coming to light with not only the allegations from these young women, but also we now have this, what we saw was a very dramatic federal raid, right? They came in with SWAT, they came in with military gear, and everyone was like, whoa, what's going on over there? What could this possibly be? And it's Homeland Security, and it's, I heard about it on the press before I even saw it. So I knew it was happening, even though it's down the street from where I live. I knew it was happening. So it was kind of also very interesting how quickly it was publicized. But I think on the heels of that, you now have everyone's attention of, wanting to know, okay, what happened here? Because this is serious. So this isn't, women allegations against Bill Cosby. This isn't allegations against Harvey Weinstein. It's still big. It's very big. It's one of our, huge celebrities. but it's a little different. It has this twist of like, oh, sex trafficking. It has kind of the Jeffrey Epstein that everyone's been, fascinated and disturbed by. And it has this, this potential for weapons charges and things like that. Like, why did they go in with such heavy artillery and so aggressively? They thought that they had information that there was going to be weapons in there. So there's another element that I think we haven't seen. So yes, there's a Me Too, but there's also there's some other criminal things that we might, that might be coming to light now.
And it's not just businesses and brands who have been distancing themselves from Diddy amid the sex trafficking probe. Several celebrities have remained publicly quiet during his legal saga. However, 2 celebrities have notably come forward expressing their support for Diddy. Disgraced singer R. Kelly, who is serving a decades-long prison sentence for child pornography and enticing minors, questioned the validity of the sex trafficking allegations. Meanwhile, Diddy's longtime friend Stevie J, who was in Diddy's Miami mansion when the feds raided the home, defended his friend, telling a news reporter with Fox 5 New York this week Diddy would never break the law and referred to the ongoing probe as a crucifixion of a black legend. He recently posted this clip onto his Instagram page, which was a video from Diddy's 50th birthday party from 2019, with the caption, "This is what a real Diddy party looks like." The video shows famous names such as Jay-Z and Pharrell, Kanye West, Kylie Jenner, Kim and Khloe Kardashian, Naomi Campbell, and other famous faces. But all have remained publicly quiet amidst Diddy's legal saga.
I gotta say that I noticed that, definitely noticed that. And I was like, there are a lot of people not saying anything. And when something like this happens, oftentimes you will see friends, sticking up for someone they know, or colleagues saying, no, that's outside of his character. That would never happen. I stand behind him. None of that happened.
Diddy has not been criminally charged on any of the allegations against him. Ahorian explains while that is still up in the air, the charges could be dependent on what the feds found during the raids.
I think it's going to come down to the evidence of what's on those laptops and what's in the phones. And, we have to also consider this is decades in the making, right? So these lawsuits weren't brought from incidents that happened recently, thanks to the statute of limitations being extended, and actually extended from 5 years to 20 years. Right? So that's a long time, and that's a long time for, the possibility of evidence having been destroyed. And, there were, I don't know how often your phone gets, uploaded and things disappear and all that, but people don't necessarily keep photos, videos for decades. And also on what phones, and, there's some technology that's changed and all of that, and laptops, people, get different. So this is going to take some time, and this is going to it's not something that's going to happen tomorrow. The job of going through whatever they did discover in the homes, and the job of interviewing all the people that are supposedly witnesses to some of the events that may have occurred. This is a lengthy and in-depth process. This is not something that the feds are going to be taken lightly. So we're not going to know yet. My personal opinion, just living in Los Angeles, working in Hollywood, and growing up out here and having friends who have ties to Diddy, or have worked for him or with him, or just anyone really involved in the music industry, there's always been stories and sort of rumors and really detailed individual stories. I've heard stuff along the way as well, like, oh, Diddy, okay. And so I do think there's something there. Whether the evidence will point to that and whether they can actually establish it is another question.
Throughout all the allegations against Diddy, he has remained steadfast that he's innocent. After the raids, his attorney issued a statement reading in part, Mr. Combs was not detained and spoke to authorities. Neither he nor any of his family members were arrested, nor has their travel been restricted. Diddy's attorney called the raids an unprecedented ambush, which led to a premature rush of judgment, and that it's nothing more than a witch hunt based on meritless accusations made in civil lawsuits.